I do have one other thing that I do want to say, though, okay? So we got a lot of very right or left-sided comments with the Lucy Letby.
So split.
Yep. With the Lucy Letby story, okay? There are a bunch of people that think that Lucy is innocent, and then there are a bunch of people that believe she is guilty. And one of our viewers took the time to write this out, and I thought it was amazing, so I just wanted to share it with everybody.
Okay.
But because Lucy, going back to my obsession into serial killer psychology, how they work, why they work, the nature versus nurture, how those dots connected to get to a point where they have no empathy for people. It's just a very interesting topic and experience to learn how that can work down the line. But so I will post the name here. I can't pronounce it. It's FAUBOURGSTHONORE. But he said, let me explain. We have all heard how Lucy Letby was smothered with love by her parents, which is interesting. We touched on the parents lightly in that story, but we didn't go in depth.
We did talk about them smothering her. Yes,
we did, but we didn't go in depth into specific situations and examples of her being smothered. So we did touch on that, though. With love by her parents in a very intrusive and at times exaggerated, if not bizarre way. There were so overwhelmingly present, calling her several times a day, not liking her to live away from them, being worried that she lives alone, treating her like a little girl. She was basically prevented by this well-meaning but probably narcissistic pair to have an emotional life outside of the close-knit family circle. This is actually the only thing Letby ever complained about. She spoke about feeling guilty to coworkers, but what about the underlying rage towards the parents that would not let her live her life? At the root of the smothering with love is the fact that she almost died at birth, and that's interesting. I don't know if we talked about the
I didn't know
almost
that.
died. Yeah, so she almost died at birth, which would obviously have been her parents' worst nightmare. This almost dying at birth is central in their lives. She even made it her career choice at a very early age to care for sick babies. I think she felt tremendous rage towards her parents and at the same time very strong guilt towards those feelings, which led to self-hatred. They basically prevented her from meeting anyone, having an adult relationship, and possibly marrying and having a family. To those parents, she was and had to stay their little girl. The killing started before she met Dr. A, and his attention was a nice residual benefit to the murders, but not the deep-rooted cause. That's interesting, because we theorized how she went with the nature versus nurture into this serial killer type rage. So she almost died at birth. That was such a life-changing situation for her parents that, I don't know if Lucy would have remembered that at birth, but her parents talked about it her whole life to the point where she felt the need to go into caring for babies herself, but her parents never let her be an adult, never gave her the room to be an adult. And we theorized the helicopter parent theory in the story is similar to like the Alexi Trevio and Alexis Avila theory.
Yeah.
And this leans directly into it. I think it is a phenomenal take, and it gives me a much better insight into the why. I didn't even look at her understanding that she almost died at birth, and now she's reenacting that.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Right.
So I don't know if she's reenacting that. I don't think so, to be honest. That's not my personal opinion. What I think it was, based off of her letters and her smothering parents, similar to like we saw in the serial killer Canada nurse, she had parents that smothered her. They felt like they couldn't be themselves or live their own life. And that was a big deal for Elizabeth Weddlehofer, was that she couldn't like she was a lesbian. Like she wanted to be her. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and she didn't know what it was like to be like an individual.
Yeah.
And I think Lucy probably has something similar like that going on. And she met this doctor that she really, really liked and wanted a life with, but he's married. She wanted like that family, that life, the husband, the baby, and all that stuff. And she goes into this job taking care of babies, and she didn't start killing right away. It was a few years after she started
I'm sure
working.
it was progression,
But-
like any serial.
Right. But so from the letters she wrote, it sounded like she had a lot of hate for herself and like her situation, and she talked about never being able to have that, never being able to have a husband, like a family of her own.
Yeah.
Like she would never get that stuff.
Yeah.
And I always wondered why. Why does she feel like she can't have that stuff? Like, I know she can't move away because her parents, you know, are too worried about her. She can't, like, have a boyfriend. She can't, there's all these things she can't do because they're worried about her. But if her parents saw her with a good guy and, like, getting married and stuff, like, that would be a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the only way to know for sure would be to get insight into that relationship with her parents.
That's what
And-
I wanted more of,
Yep.
but it's not there yet.
Yep.
Like, her parents believe she's innocent. They will not speak on all
and
that
that's
stuff.
perfect evidence, because I think there is heavy evidence against her, no matter what
Agreed.
people's opinions are. The evidence against her, I think, is really good. And I think that you could take out the physical evidence of people walking in and how she was doing it to babies that weren't even under her charge, that literally saw something going on, they weren't sure what, and then a baby crashing right after. I think you could take that out, and the circumstantial evidence around her with the psych eval and profile, and with the parents and how she acted and how she was doing things in
Well,
her
the
job,
statistics.
and the statistics when she was there versus when she wasn't, and she was always there during when one of these babies was ended. I think that is enough by itself. And then you look at the physical evidence of these parents that had walked in on her, that she had physically touched every baby that wasn't even under her. It's all there. It's all there. There is a ton of evidence there. It has nothing to do with the bacteria from the overflowing sewers that happened in there. That does not include air going into veins and lungs and any of that other stuff.
And
she was torturing the kids. Who knows if she actually meant to end them, but that's what happened. She was torturing them. And was it because of this event that her parents talked about her whole life, and she despised her parents talking about how she almost died because she feels like that death caused the helicopter parent? So now she's replaying that with somebody else's kid? Like,
she feel like that she's saving the kids,
or
almost.
she's making herself not feel alone, because those parents are now going to experience the same situation that her and her parents went through. So maybe she'll feel like there's going to be more people that relate. I don't know.
See, I felt like Munchausen by proxy really made sense, because you know what I think? I think that her parents put her on this pedestal. They're obsessed with her. They smother her with love and still treat her like a little girl. And then she goes out in the real world and she's the most basic vanilla, person ever. And she doesn't get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And because she used every single death to get attention. She would be texting her coworkers like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just so heartbroken. Can I take care of your patient? I really need to take care of a baby right now." And then that baby would turn up dead. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She wanted sympathy. Like, she wanted sympathy for everything. And the Munchausen by proxy makes a ton of sense when you look at the evidence, like the things she said. And the things she did, lined up with the symptoms of Munchausen by proxy and the behaviors that come along with that. That's what I was highlighting in our last Lucy Letby video, and I think it's spot on.
Yeah, No, I agree. But I appreciate you leaving that comment. That got my brain working, man. And that's a good example of what we hope all of our viewers are comfortable giving us. We want all your opinions, even if we don't agree with it. There's been a ton of comments we brought up that we don't agree with, but we still are going to share it with you because of our axiom of if we have the information, we're going to share it with you.
Yeah, and I didn't know she almost died at birth. Like, that would have been super helpful information for that video.
It would have been.
Thank you.
It would have been.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So now we will move into our actual stories.
That wasn't a topic?
No, that was not a topic.